So what the hell happened? I was supposed to become an artist. I was going to build a website, build some social media feeds and post all my artwork on there and then get commissions off the back of that, and then everything would just work out. But it didn't. So I went away and I thought, right, okay, Instagram isn't working. As we all know, the algorithms aren't pushing our content. Let's try YouTube, I thought. Because I also, given the whole state of AI, I thought it's worth showing the world that I'm a human being, that at least I have something that AI can't reproduce, or at least not as easily, even if that something is not as good, is flawed, is, you know, very much human. I thought, well, at least I could do that. So I started posting on YouTube and just talking about life as an artist and the struggles there within. And I did that, you know, I'd regularly post on YouTube for about, I think I did about 8 or 9 months over the course of a year. And the plan was to at least go for a year, at least try and get to, say, 1,000 subscribers or something. And it just kind of all fell apart. I just got to a place where I was like, this isn't working. Whatever I'm doing isn't working. You know, and I'd make little tweaks. I'd try and tweak the title, tweak the thumbnail somewhat to make it more clickable, you know, to somewhat at least play the game, play the YouTube game, and, you know, obviously not clickbait, but to try and make what I was putting out there more alluring, at least given the fact that, as you can see, it's just a guy talking about stuff. There's not too much going on here. But yeah, things just didn't work out. And I just got to a point where I'm like, do I even want to be an artist? If being an artist now is the majority of time spent with sales and marketing, and, you know, I've concluded that Instagram isn't working, you know, other platforms like Facebook and Tumblr or things like that's not going to work. You know, I kind of came to this conclusion that you're going to need a video presence. You're going to need to show the world that you're a human being, that you're not an AI, that you're not just a picture and some words or something that could be mass produced by an algorithm. And given that, you know, it felt like YouTube was the last try at it, the last go to see if I could start to generate some interest, to see if I could generate a bit of a following. Do I deserve 100,000 or 1 million subscribers? No, I don't. You know, what I'm putting out into the world isn't that good. The idea was such that if I could get monetized in some way, if I could start to slowly build a following, if I could start to slowly, you know, generate some interest to find the audience that would actually care about the stuff that I'm trying to put out there, the things I'm trying to say, then I could start to up the quality. I could introduce more, you know, B-roll and footage, and, you know, maybe even employ an editor one day to make these more concise and on point or whatever. But, you know, it's one step at a time, and I just didn't get to that next step. So therefore, that is why this video is what it is. A guy just sitting on a sofa talking about his progress or lack thereof within the art and design space, and specifically the YouTube space. And yeah, I think at the end of last year, I just came to the conclusion that this isn't working. This isn't working for me. And I'm not the only one. You know, there's other people that I speak to or were speaking to on a semi-regular basis about the struggles with YouTube. You know, there's so many people that are trying to make YouTube into a thing because we just see other people do it. We see other people get online and just talk about, they can just talk about their lives, talk about their day, talk about the toast that they made and ate in the morning, or the person that they had a chat with at the local shops later that day. Inane, boring crap. You know, I've pointed out before how I've seen people get tens, if not hundreds of thousands of views talking about the fact that their shampoo wasn't working properly and that they felt distressed over the state of their hairdo or whatever it was. People will watch anything. It's just trying to find the right sort of people that care about the thing that you want to talk about. And, you know, most people, regrettably, are probably going to view this video and think, I don't like this guy. I don't want to hear what he's talking about. He's boring. I need something else, either something more that aligns more with my interest or something with a bit more going on or whatever. Fair enough, you know, that's just how it is. But I'm sure there are other people that will just do a talking head video like myself, that or would watch a talking head video like this and care, because I still care. There are people that I listen to that don't do more other than the fact that they just are real, talk about their day, talk about their life. And it's interesting getting a little bit of insight into someone who is doing something similar, who thinks in a similar way. Again, it's just trying to find the sort of person that you resonate with. I might not be that person, and fair enough. But yeah, things weren't working, and I just decided, right, I'm just gonna take a break from this art thing, you know, I'm gonna maybe do other things. So I took a part-time job. I was doing some driving, doing a driving job. And I did that for a number of months at the end of last year. And anyway, that came to an end for various reasons. But I'll just mention a few things. There were times when I would be driving around and then I would drive to work. I was working in a rough area. There would be rough kids around that would try and just impress their mates, and they would throw things at my vehicle. I was using my own vehicle for this driving job. So they would, and I thought, oh, it's just an isolated incident, but you know, it would happen a lot. The local kids would just terrorise the town. The town was quite notorious for this. You know, it had been featured in the local newspapers several times over the course of the year, which almost put me off from doing the job. But I thought, you know, no town can be that bad. I'm sure it was just a fleeting thing that happens, and every town has its problems, but no, this was a particularly bad part of town. And you know, I'd just have to go home at the end of the day cleaning eggs off my car, or you know, and it's just like not a great start to this job. Another incident whereby in order to do my job I had to park in the work staff car park, a designated car park specifically for staff, as the name suggests. Let's just cut a long story short and say that I got 8 parking tickets for being a staff member and parking in my staff car park. Wrongly, of course. I appealed it. None of my appeals were acknowledged by the authority who tried to attempt to fine me. I had at this point £800 of parking fines. I did a secondary appeal, and luckily, after many hours of faffing and messing around, I got all my appeals looked at, and the fines were nullified and void, and everything kind of worked out in the end. But that was I'm just saying this because it's an example of all these little stresses when you go to do a job. You think, you know what, I'm going to give up whatever it is I'm doing now and I'm going to try something else, I'm going to try a different job. And a job is never just the job. There's all these other things that go with it, things that you wouldn't have thought of. You know, you don't think I'm going to start a new job as an accountant in an accountancy firm and it's working in a certain office in a certain part of town, you know, maybe the next town along. And probably your main concern is, can I do the job? Am I going to be good at the job? Is it going to be fulfilling? Is it going to pay me enough to warrant doing the job? Am I going to be bored by it? Am I going to be motivated by it? All that kind of stuff. You don't necessarily think about, you know, is my car going to be in danger if I leave it, you know, parked in the nearby streets? You know, am I going to deal with just unnecessary hassle from some other aspect of this job that I shouldn't have to deal with, and the job ends up going from just being you know, what you might think would be a 9 to 5 turns into like a 9 to 7 because 2 hours at the end of the day is spent just dealing with an unknown problem, an unwarranted problem that you shouldn't have had to deal with. So yeah, I tried that for a little bit, wasn't working out, and you know, I gave it up. Certainly there are good jobs, there are bad jobs, there are the sort of low barrier to entry jobs, which of course driving is one of those types of jobs. And I think you're probably more likely to just deal with stuff like an angry boss who wants to micromanage you and not be fair and reasonable, doesn't potentially treat you with the respect you deserve. And perhaps there are other jobs in other lines of work where you wouldn't even consider it. There just wouldn't be an issue with that. You know, you go to a very, you know, nice part of town to work your job, and perhaps there's some facilities within the place of work where you work. Maybe there's a gym and a cafe and a bar and you know, there's pool tables, table tennis tables, arcade machines, all that kind of stuff. And you know, it's as much a fun little place to hang out as much as it is a place to work. And you would have no idea there are certain jobs out there whereby you're going to be in some sort of danger in order just to do the job. You know, you're having to work in a bad part of town where there's some bad people, and maybe you're going to deal with these people every time you just walk down the street or wherever it is. And then there's this just general issue of energy and motivation. What do you do when, you know, maybe you're working a full-time job, or even if you're working a part-time job, or you just have X amount of responsibilities or just so much energy in the day. And then it's like, well, how do I also put videos out? How do I also, you know, if your videos are about you creating something and you're filming the process, talking about the process, all that kind of stuff, it's like, well, you've got to go away and create the thing, and then you've got to film it, and then you've got to talk about it or edit a video about that thing on top of all the life stuff that you would normally have. And you just get to a point where you think, is this worth it? You know, for me, for someone who gets, you know, 10 to 50 views on a video, so for example, is it worth it? Is it worth me caring about? It's a difficult thing, because I know there are a few people who will watch my videos and think, oh, you know, it's good to check in, see what this guy's up to, and you know, maybe they would say, I like having this guy in the background just to sort of listen to while I'm producing my artwork, and it's someone talking about art-related things. It's the same sort of stuff that I'm interested in. Or maybe there'll be a few nuggets of wisdom or relatability, things that I can say where other people can get something out of it. And for those people, you know, I don't want to let them down. I don't want to just vanish and kind of leave them hanging, although maybe that's just some kind of weird, skewed thought in my mind. But perhaps, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just a person, and every person out there is gonna find what they need to find in life. You know, there's a million YouTube channels, TikTokers, Instagrammers, Facebook, Reddit posters or whatever. There's more than enough content out there for people to get. So, you know, perhaps it's wrong to feel burdened or that you need to, you know, continually put stuff out there for the audience that you have, whether it be, you know, 1 million subscribers or 10 subscribers, you know what I mean? So it's difficult. It's difficult when you just don't have a lot of energy at the end of the day to think, oh, do I really want to do that? Do I really want to go on YouTube and, you know, maybe record a video? And even if it's something quite simple like this with minimal editing, do I really want to record this, do a few edits and process it and upload it to my platform and potentially, you know, reply to comments and things like that? Or do I just want to relax at the end of a hard day? So anyway, here I am, I'm back on YouTube, and what am I going to be doing so far as continuing the artistic career? Well, something I thought about was potentially marker art. I thought about maybe trying to get a little bit away from digital art, since now AI can just replicate that stuff just so easily. It's difficult because traditionally I'm not trained as a traditional artist, I'm trained as a digital artist. You know, when I was 15, 16 years old, when I first started to consider getting into art or getting interested in art, you know, I kind of fell in love with digital tools. I just thought, well, this is the way forward, you know, this is amazing. I can get really nice, clean, glossy, smooth results using digital software, whereby if I was to try and do that with paints and brushes, it would just take forever, and it would, you know, be more expensive because obviously you'd need all the paints and materials, and the digital thing seemed, and probably was in some ways, easier after you got through that initial learning curve of learning the software. So now it's a weird thing to think, oh, you know, I've kind of got to give up my go-to medium, my go-to, you know, tool of choice for creating artwork. Because over the course of years, obviously you learn lots of little tricks and techniques in order to, you know, maximize your workflow and your efficiency. You know, working traditionally, there is no edit undo. There is no layer where you can just discard a layer and start again. You're having to make sure that everything is on point, that you don't make mistakes, because painting over those mistakes, especially if you're working a more technical style, is going to be quite difficult. Fine if you're working something quite abstract and, you know, something quite messy that gets refined as you go. If you're trying to work on something quite refined and slick, you know, like, for example, using an airbrush, for example, an actual real airbrush, you know, you can't make mistakes with this stuff because it's very difficult to correct. If you're working with pen and ink, with marker pens, with watercolors, if you go in too heavy, you know, there isn't any way to get out of it. I used to work as a tattoo artist, so I kind of know what it's like to not have your undo button and to think, right, if I go too heavy here or put in just too much shadow, there is no painting over it. There is no white that can be applied on top of the black to get back to where we were, kind of thing. So yeah, I kind of feel like my traditional skills are nowhere near as good as the digital skills, so it puts me at a bit of a disadvantage. And with the art game as tough as it is, with the standard as high as it is right now, it's a daunting thought to feel like traditional is the way forward, but it just seems like that would be the way to go potentially, just given the whole AI situation. But we will see what the future holds. Right now, I'm taking it very easy. Like I say, just come off the back of this other job and feel as though, right, okay, I need to decide what's next, you know. And there's a few other obstacles which I haven't talked about, which are really getting in my way here. You know, life doesn't just go according to plan. It's not a case of tackle one problem and then everything's okay. Sometimes you have 20 other problems that have come along at the same time and they all need sorting out, or measures being put in place in order to contend with those as well. So I don't know what's going to happen so far as this channel goes, so far as with the art thing that I've been working towards goes. You know, it's never been an easy project, whether it's been the sales and marketing side of things or whether it's been the creation of art itself. And you do just wonder, like, why am I doing this? What is the point in this? Obviously, there's something within me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, where they feel compelled to want to create something, whether it is, you know, a 2D piece of artwork or a 3D sculpture, or maybe it's a piece of writing or a video, or just something. There's something within certain human beings where they feel they need to get this stuff out. They need to express themselves in some way. They need to discuss and communicate their ideas in some way, and that feeling doesn't go anywhere. So something has to be done about it. So yeah, we'll see what happens, and all I can say is thanks for stopping by, checking out what I've been up to, and what I'm thinking about right now, and hopefully I'll see you again in a future video.